happening? Yes, I think we have contact.
Okay.
I think, there we go. We do indeed. Welcome to the first live stream of 2023.
Yep, and it is visible on our console at the moment.
Nice. Technology in abundance.
Beautiful.
And you haven't started the Twitter space yet, have you?
No, it's waiting to hit start, so I think we are ready to go, and we are live on YouTube. Let's not forget that. So
we are live on YouTube.
All right. So a little bit of creative technology use this evening with the Redcoin team. Streaming to YouTube for the video side of it, streaming audio to Twitter Spaces. So if you're watching now, you're in a little bit early. The same audio is going to be on the Twitter Space. So if you're listening now, you're okay. If you want to listen to the recorded version on Twitter, just take a look at the twitter.com/redcoin page. I will go ahead and start Twitter now, and I'm going to have to come on. Oh, I put too much in the title. Here you go. Living and learning.
Don't let technology scare you.
Exactly. You should notice the little red icon before you try to hit play. All right. Redcoin is going live. We are in fact live. All right. So I will switch over to the space for the audio. If you want to go ahead and log in there, and then okay.
Yeah, I need to get in there. It takes a while.
All right. While you are doing that, I will go ahead. So welcome everybody to, I think this is the second or third Twitter space we've done. Always a lot of fun to engage with folks and have them, offer questions and insights. We will be dropping some links in the various channels. And if you've missed this and you're listening to it later or watching the video on YouTube, feel free to reach out to the team. If you do have questions, concerns, thoughts, you want to follow up, you want to join in, you want to, be part of all the excitement that's going on, info@redcoin.com, or you can join any of our community channels. We're active in all of them and hopefully very receptive to folks. So today we are going to be talking, John, Nash, and I, as the lead developers and the core Redcoin team. It's a new year. Welcome to 2023. We're going to be talking about very little about us because that's not the focus today. We've evolved what we've been doing. Those of the redheads out there that are following as we've done work over the last year, really after the last 7 or 8, but the last year we've worked very hard to bring the core wallet up to date and add some features and technology. And now our focus really is turning towards, as it should be, to really drive the use case of what Redcoin is, towards decentralized tipping, social media connectivity, and really making all of that easier for people to use, and putting the control of those systems and that financial stream, that monetization, back in the hands of people to control as they will, as opposed to the companies that control it in the model of some of the companies that have been shut down lately. So we are all about creating tools that you guys and girls as consumers and users are able to control your own coins, your own destiny, your own payments. It's all in your hands, which of course we do need to explain a bit about how to use things, but that's why we're here. So I want to let John take the mic for a bit. He's doing a lot of the current work on the Mastodon and ActivityPub work, in which we're trying to sort of implant Redcoin connectivity and functionality there. So John, if you'd like to take over, your wisdom would be appreciated.
Thank you, and you'll need to actually enable my microphone on Twitter Spaces, please.
Look at that. Requests 1. So I'll just say okay. And there we go. You get to be a co-host in this wonderful space and speak as you will. And in the meantime, I will do some sharing of the link over to some of our Telegram, Discord, and elsewhere. But you should be good to go if you want to take over. The topic today: Mastodon, ActivityPub, Redcoin, and beyond. Oh, and I can't hear you. There you go. That is only, just so you're aware, that is only on the Twitter side. I think it's mute on Google. Okay.
For what we're trying to achieve, and sorry, I got feedback here now. Sorry, just excuse me. Somebody just tried to call me. While I'm trying to talk to everybody else. Yeah, I think we're good. Sorry about that. The joys of technology, trying to do things on mobile phones, or cell phones, which have become central to everybody's. Decentralized, honey, decentralized. So where I was heading with all that is, end of last year, and I guess more as we took a break and I was resting my brain, the synapses were out there trying to join together a new vision for Redcoin. Well, it's not really a new vision, it's just redirecting our vision and coming up with a configuration for Redcoin and for our users and beyond, and share this information. One of the things that Tech and I have discussed a lot over the last while is three particular technologies, one of them being ActivityPub, another one being Matrix, and more recently another organization called Blue Sky, who are also moving into what I'm going to say collectively are decentralized social media. And with that brings a lot of challenges. So just forgetting about the cryptocurrency component at the moment, the challenge there is how do you create these decentralized islands of people's posts and images and video and metadata, and the approach by each of these companies or each of these organizations is done a little bit differently. We've taken the path of looking at what Mastodon are doing on top of ActivityPub, and also the broader community of ActivityPub. So there's a bunch of different clients out there achieving slightly different user experiences that are all interesting. You know, that there's a video sharing, which will be synonymous with YouTube, which is called PeerTube, and really what we're trying to do is encrux this whole decentralized environment. You know, we've always pushed the decentralized tipping, and I think for us now, as we come into 2023, with all the noise around centralized social media and who actually controls what in that environment. If the big boss of a particular social media company can call out and disconnect or reconnect user accounts on a whim, is that what users generally want to be able to experience? I don't want to get into the rights of free speech or anything like that particularly, but it's more of users controlling the data that they have. So, and then moving that into the cryptocurrency side of things, with Redcoin, what we've always promoted is if you don't hold your private key, you don't hold your funds. And as we've seen again towards the end of 2022, a whole bunch of exchanges and various not so good things happening with people losing access to their funds or trading or their financial value because of poor life choices by poor business practice. So going into 2023, what we're trying to reimagine for Redcoin and decentralized tipping is using a platform that does claim to be decentralized. And ActivityPub is, I won't say, it's not peer-to-peer. Each client is not totally separate to another. There's still a central server of types, but they are nodes or decentralized nodes. So you can have various, in Mastodon's example, you can have various servers set up, and each one of those is hosted by a provider, and that can be topics around that provider's interest. So it could be as simple as, Redcoin, for example, setting up a server to just speak about Redcoin and everything Redcoin's centric, and people can sign into that server as a local user, and so get an account on that server, or they can contribute to that server as a remote user. So they've signed up on another server and they've been able to get an invite to contribute to that server. So it's not decentralized in the purest form of decentralized, but it's a far better outcome than having 300 million users all centralized into one organization. And when you sign up to those platforms, your amount of risk is smaller in that you still have to agree to their terms of service and control. They're going to be storing your images or videos or your text on that particular server, but you're accepting it within that organization's limits. So, if Mastodon is being used as a business tool, say, as an example, similar to Slack, so you have work communications, then the content you're contributing to that server would fit within their terms of service and content retainment versus trying to fit into this global scheme of one company trying to be all things to all people. Likewise, if you're a server about gardening, for example, you're going to have policies there that you talk on the servers about gardening, not about rabbit breeding, for example. It's just to take some examples. So in what we're trying to achieve, and looking at Mastodon, is how can we take Mastodon's client and turn that into a crypto capable client, just as an example, as a proof of concept or a minimum viable product. I know Mastodon have looked at cryptocurrency in the past. In fact, I've sort of gone back through their repo a little bit to sort of look at their chats and see where they want to go. And they've steered away from enabling cryptocurrency in the official Mastodon client. But that doesn't stop people participating in the ActivityPub, so the background or back end of what Mastodon is using. So ActivityPub is still the protocol layer. Cryptocurrency is enabled on the client side and communicated across. And in our first, what we've been experimenting in these very early days of 2023, is really something we just kicked off in the last, what day is it today? It's the 8th, 7th?
January 6th.
January 6th, look at that. Well, it's the 7th for me, on the other side of the world. Is that we're looking at what the client is capable of doing and having as minimal impact on the client operation and still get an outcome on cryptocurrency. So our history of doing stuff in the browsers, our proof of concept has been occurring on the Mastodon web client, which falls hand in hand with stuff that we've done in the past with our browser plugin, where you provide a link within your post. You're able to click on the link. It is then able to trigger a transaction on Redcoin wallet, and then you complete your transaction and push it through. There's a whole bunch of things to explore there, and how do you want to capture that transaction information or not? And again, some of this stuff comes down to privacy, and in some regards, capturing that data would be fantastic, because then as a group or as an organization, Redcoin can often do some fantastical things with that. Data harvesting and storing all that stuff away and being able to promote content. That's by capturing all the data. Or do we leave it very anonymous so that if somebody gets tipped, then nobody else on the network would actually know it other than the person who received the tip? And I guess these are the two paths that we can walk down. Or is there some middle ground that we can accomplish and have some notification out there on the network, or some minimal amount of notification without looking like spam? And I've looked at what we've done and what other teams have done over the past with tipping. In one way, putting that link into a post to say, hey, I've tipped that person 1,000 Redcoin, aren't I great? It's kind of good in the first instance, because it's out there, it's promoting. It's a bit like saying, hey, taking a shopping bag from the grocery store and it's got the emblem on there. You've just bought your new gadget from Gadget Shop, and here's a Gadget Shop bag. So you're out there promoting it. That works great in the first instance, but with social media, I think that becomes quite noisy or spammy across the different people who are going to interact, and may not appreciate seeing this big message in blaze every time somebody does a tip. So where we're kind of at the moment is taking the light approach of just, first of all, enabling tipping. So having a user interface that is able to display a additional button, and anybody who's looking at our YouTube stream will be seeing Tech and my lovely faces, along with a browser window, which is the Mastodon web client. And I'm not actually doing any demonstrations there, really just as a pictorial, as an image for people to look at and try and work out what the heck are we displaying here. But just in our initial touch on this, what we've done is, if you look at the post of the display, there's a couple of posts there that have a Bitcoin icon, because that was the only icon that was available in the fonts that they'd selected. There's that or a piece of an icon of cash. So we went to our evil big brother, plugged him in there as an icon. But really what's trying to demonstrate here is a selection of posts, or toots as Mastodon call them, that have gone out. We've been able to identify that the user has a Redcoin address set up in their profile, and anybody who has a Redcoin address, it's up in their profile, will display that additional button on the post for people to be able to click on. So the operation basically is that somebody could click on that button and launch their wallet, fill in some details. The address will already be pre-filled for them because it's been pulled from the ActivityPub client profile information. That's been put into a link that is embedded in the page. You click on the link, that launches the wallet up, and extracting the URI details, so the address, Redcoin address, a label, and some value. It creates a transaction that is presented on the Redcoin wallet for you as a user then to accept that transaction and click on send. At the moment, just as a proof of concept, lots of steps there. It's not a nice simple press button at send setup. And this is one of the challenges that we've found in all our discussions on social media is if you want to own the keys, if you want the end user to own the keys, the interaction is a little bit longer than if you do a centralized approach like the traditional tip bot. The traditional tip bot, you put a command in there, go tip somebody 10 red coins, and the bot will do the transaction creation and sending automatically for you. But as a user, the reality is you don't control those funds at all. Even though you might do a check balance, the bot will go out there and go, hey, yeah, there's Crypto National. He's got a balance of 50 red coins. That's all happening on a wallet that is controlled by the tip bot. Whoever operates a tip bot has your funds. So if it's a popular tip bot, there's a high risk there, just like we've seen with exchanges, that for whatever reasons, somebody gets shut down, somebody needs some extra beer money or whatever, your funds are not protected. They're protected by the honesty of the person operating the tip bot, and that's our whole process of for Redcoin trying to remove that. We want people to 100% have control of their own funds. So if I send a tip from myself to you, that's come from my wallet directly to your wallet. And some of the things we're exploring there are whether we go back to use a browser-based wallet, a little bit like we did with the browser plugin back in the day. We can use the keys, that all that information is stored within your browser storage, or do we have an external wallet where, whether it's a core wallet or something like Coinomi, again, that will take URIs as a link and be launched up so that you can send your transactions. They all have their pluses and minuses, and I guess that's really what I'm been exploring with this, is how to make the user experience as seamless as possible, at the same time providing the trust that their funds are secure and not at risk. So Mastodon and ActivityPub has been our first. How do we make this work? Can we make this work? And then looking at the other networks, and our next step is to look at. Sorry, just to finish on ActivityPub, we've kind of got the interactions happening. We just need to streamline those a little bit more. And then once we've got that going, we're going to pivot to Matrix, which is another well-established decentralized social media network. And between both networks, they have, in the millions of users. So there should be no reason why, as people have moved around the various other networks and looking for alternatives, being able to find each other on those networks. So Matrix will be the next capital rank. Probably we'll start our POC there in next week or so, just as we tidy up ActivityPub, and hopefully we'll get some actual video of the interaction happening on the desktop very shortly to publish out there. I think we're going to do another video next week of a little bit more narrowed down. So anybody who joins us on these channels, I think we're going to do as a capture video at this particular time. Chop it up a little bit so people want to share what we're doing. You can take those snippets and push them out. But we're really excited, and I think end of 2022 was kind of it was really cemented in my mind, all the risks that we saw in social media and trying to integrate with the Facebooks and the Twitters and bend to their rules versus taking something that's a bit decentralized, to various degrees, and adjusting our behavior to what their expectations are, and coming up with a viable solution. And then finally, with the third social media that we mentioned, which was Blue Sky, is another huge uptake of decentralized, and a whole bunch of discussion going around how they want to approach their configuration. One of the nice things about all these three, particularly ActivityPub and Matrix, is they are well-established protocols now. They're on the W3 consortium's list of specs. So anybody can actually write a client to use their protocols. And, if you want to create your own social media infrastructure, you can write it and piggyback on ActivityPub or Matrix, and create your own clients. And there's tools and utilities out there to get you started on that. But I kind of feel that where we started from, Redcoin, back in 2014, and trying to integrate into these monolithic social media companies. And then, we've had so many stops and starts and proof of concepts ourselves along the way. We feel that starting 2023, this is actually exactly where we want to be. It's almost a bullseye target of all the pieces laid out for us to integrate with. So we're excited to push through with this idea. And I think the third part in that discussion is Redcoin social media, and is the whole identity side of things. That's been, as everyone knows, we've delayed that for on and off for such a long time. But again, we feel like we've actually landed in a nice situation here. And one of the things that we've been looking at and discussing internally is, should identification be solely on the Redcoin side of things, which becomes a very singular activity, or becomes a very centralized activity, even though the network is peer-to-peer. If people want to participate in social identity, it's stuck on the Redcoin chain. What we've been discussing, probably best part of half of last year, is there's some big efforts by various organizations of creating that same decentralized identification, and particularly on social media, and integrating that into various decentralized components. And DID, or decentralized ID, is one. Again, another W3 protocol, or they've accepted their, I can't think of what they call their validation, but that's become well documented. And there is a couple of different groups have, Self-ID is one of them, who are using DID as a part of their identification and integration into Web3. We're talking with various groups on how that might look for us in Redcoin as a UTXO style coin. But I think, to summarize where are we at with redd.id, is instead of being a centralized, so Redcoin specific identification structure, what we're looking at doing is, how do we, as a group, Redcoin, integrate into a more distributed identification system that makes more sense, so that, bigger picture, if you are a user of Redcoin but you want to participate in Bitcoin or DigiByte or Potcoin or whatever coin that you happen to favor at the time, what we're looking at is how to set up an environment where you can participate. So, the identification is not locked into one group's efforts. That's actually looked at as across the board as an ecosystem. I think there's still effort on our side to make that integration work, and we're looking for people who have experience or want some experience in being involved in that side of things. There's some interesting stuff being done out there, and it's exciting. So there's still scope for what we're trying to do with redd.id, but it's going to be a different animal. redd.id initially was the very initial concept was, buying an ID and, paying a certain amount and being able to sell that and trade that. But the value of crypto since 2014, when Redcoin were kicked off, it's gone up, it's gone down. There's been crashes, there's been build-ups. So the price volatility is all over the place, and should an ID have that sort of value? And I think the ID itself has value, but is it a financial value? These are some of the bigger, sitting around late at night with a glass of whiskey in your hand, thinking, well, what are we trying to do here? I think for every individual user, your identification is invaluable. You don't want to lose that. If you're linking up different social media accounts, that's invaluable. You don't want to lose that. But also at the same time, there should be privacy involved. You do expose that to your ID to every man, woman, and dog out there who is interested. Right to free speech. Now suddenly you're able to be doxxed because your information is too publicly available. So I think as a group we have to look at what we're trying to do. Where's our specialty? I don't think we want to profess ourselves as being the advocates of not just identification and sharing and privacy. I think there's a broader group of people who do that very well, and looking at what's now become available, more readily available, the whole concept of privacy and identification is now pertinent. Again, going back to these companies have been hacked, not just cryptocurrency, but businesses having their identification stolen and sold on the dark web. I think we're now at a point where it's actually a very specialized corner of the market, and Redcoin as a group shouldn't expose themselves to a situation where if data is exposed, how do we tackle that? And I think if we have a environment where there's a lot of people contributing to identification and privatization of that, and privacy of that information, is far better than having a single group like Redcoin trying to achieve everything. So again, going back to that, kicking off 2023, having distributed, it's always it's always our catch cry of what we're trying to achieve. And I think the best approach for us is to piggyback on the efforts that other people have done around decentralized identification, and use that to empower crypto networks, Redcoin or anybody else who's interested, and try and further the cause on that. So, well, that was a big brain dump, wasn't it? Everybody's keeping up with it.
I can jump in there just to say, you thank you for that deep dive into where we are and helping expose that to folks and what we're doing there. I couldn't have said it better myself, and it's part of the joy of working with you. I did want to highlight, just for folks who are either just learning about Redcoin or have forgotten or whatever may be the case, one of the fundamental pieces of Redcoin that makes it suitable for the things that we're talking about is the core attributes, things like speed and low cost, zero cost transactions. We have a fit to what we're trying to accomplish here in a way that you could use other cryptos, any cryptocurrency or token that you might like, but there are going to be fees associated with that depending on the chain, depending on the coin that you're using. The beautiful thing about Redcoin is that ultra low fee down to zero for very simple transactions, and that's something we're trying to leverage, because the biggest part of the existing systems is the fact that they take a chunk out of whatever service it is they're providing you, whether it's remittance or tipping or payment, PayPal and Patreon and all the rest of them. If we can do it for zero fee, you send 1,000, you get 1,000, that's ideal. That's what everybody really should be expecting in a perfect world, and that's sort of what we're building towards. That type of action is going to be tough for any other crypto or somebody that's not our chain to replicate. So we are confident that we've got, sort of the right technology for the job here. As John mentioned, and as we've talked about, throughout our last year or so, there's definitely an acknowledgement of where does Web3 and identity and sovereign, decentralized control of your data, where does that fit into all the things that we do and that we're trying to do? And I guess the discovery that others had put apart from the crypto blockchain currency token, all the stuff that a lot of folks in our spaces, it's all encompassing. They're intelligent, just brilliant folks working on the identity problem that have fleshed out and coded and made open source solutions for full-fledged identity marketplaces exactly along the lines of what we've discussed. And it fits very nicely with our mission of sharing code, sharing open source, capabilities and components. So that just makes sense and really fits in line with our brand and our ethical sort of approach to share the love, share the knowledge. I think it's a very elegant fit to what we as a project have committed to doing all this time. And to the last thing that John said, and absolutely we say this every time, if you want to be a part of that, we are looking to make this a success. So the more talent we have, the better. If you're familiar with anything Web3 related, TypeScript, JavaScript, I believe we could use some Rust or Golang. Again, if you have knowledge, you want to bring that to what we're doing, there's space here to shine as an individual contributing to our project, to our project, and to get some real on the ground, experience in implementing changes and developing apps in what is a very robust and powerful blockchain that we have here in Redcoin. If you're at all interested in that, you can feel free to message me directly or John on any of our channels, or send an email to info@redcoin.com. Pester somebody in Discord or Telegram. We really are, looking for folks to help pitch in and get some of this work out. We will be issuing, where are we now? This is Friday and Australian Saturday. We're planning to put out our beginning of the year 2023 sort of where do we stand, what's the roadmap ahead, and a lot of the stuff that we covered on this call, we'll be rehashing and going through some detail on that in an upcoming development update for the beginning of 2023. Hopefully that will include some details on when we can start seeing some of this arriving so that people can either contribute to building it or using the systems as we've launched this redcoinified Mastodon. We do want folks to come in there and help us really use it and prove the concept of what it is we're trying to do. So anybody technical, non-technical, if you're interested, if what we're talking about sounds like something you want to spend some time on, please don't be shy. Other than that, I think that was a great, just real overview for what we're going to be doing. We've published this. I think we're live streaming to YouTube at the moment. Haven't noticed any glitches or anything yet, so hopefully that is up there. We'll get this promoted on Reddit as well. I didn't want to pop that up and slow down the stream, but we'll get that out on some of the other channels as well. Again, this is a community-driven project. We need community engagement. So whatever your interest, if you want to be part of it, reach out. We are not terrible people. We're friendly. We don't bite till we get stressed and things are crashing, but that never happens. So yeah, thanks, John. Do you have any final comments there to add?
I do, actually. I can't read it because it's too far away on my monitor screen over here, but somebody on YouTube chat has dropped a question there, and I can't actually read it.
All righty. I will stop recording on this.